We are going through the topic of how to prepare for WA. So the previous week is more of just creating timetable accountability, but now I'm going to be covering what's the best way to study for the different types of subjects. Okay, my name is Marsha. I'm the head of study skills. So I'm the one that is actually behind the scenes creating the curriculum and stuff. So can I just have a bit of feedback before I start? So what do you think about the WRC topics so far? Has it been useful? What problems do you have in your school life now that you want to fix?
Everything.
Wow, I cannot help you with everything. What is one thing you want to change that you want to get help with? Math. Okay, so what's wrong with math? Do you think that it's because of a content issue or the way you study and revise?
It's just that some of the questions that come out in the WA, my teacher, right, gives us practice paper, right? In the end, it's totally not the same
Topics are the same, right?
topic, but everything, all the methods are all different.
So it sounds like there is an issue with preparation when things are a bit more new, right? When you don't get tested with the exact same thing. So that is exactly what I'll be going through. Okay, so welcome to the second half of August WRC. This means that I'll be actually talking about the same thing for the next 4 weeks, not 4 weeks, 4 sessions. But you guys can still come and are still encouraged to come because there are accountability sessions at the end. Before we begin, let's talk about small wins, okay? So this is not my student. This is one of Mentor's Uni's students. She is a secondary school student. And I don't know if you guys know, but secondary school, you have literally ×2 the number of subjects, okay? As you guys can see, to have so many subjects, like now, many students tell me, I don't need a revision plan. I just study when exams are coming because you guys only have 4 subjects. But when you move to secondary school, you need a revision plan, otherwise you will drown, okay, with all your mental stress. So the best way to get rid of your mental stress is to write it all down. And this is what this student did. The moment she transitioned to secondary school, her biggest struggle was to create a revision plan because she's so used to just studying the 4 subjects whenever needed. Right, but now it's not enough. You need to study way ahead and you need to really plan your timetable well. As you can see, for one day, this student is learning chemistry and POA. Next day is bio and maths, followed by SS and maths. Maybe for the student it's a small win, but this is a huge win in my books because planning for a revision, especially when you are in secondary school, is so important. So who has a revision plan now? Hands up. You guys have? Okay, that's awesome. This is very important because it's little practices. All right. So congrats to this. Okay, anyone wants to share your small win?
Doing practice paper.
Nice. How many practice papers do you do?
3.
Which subjects?
1 subject
One. You did 3 practice papers for 1 subject.
for 2 hours.
Wow, that's fantastic. Which subject is this?
Maths.
Yay, that's great. Okay. So what about you, Samuel? What is one thing that you did to prepare for exams or to keep your habits up that you're proud of yourself for?
Notes.
Notes. You created notes. Okay. Is it true? Did he create notes?
He did. It's not like
Okay, but still small wins, right? So slowly make it consistent. Okay, Samuel. So we're going to recap on what's a 4 weeks revision plan. What is the best way to revise languages? What's the best way to revise maths and science? Okay, and also accountability. So revision schedule. All right.
Picture of everything we see.
So let's play a game. Who can give me the most answers? I will give you a prize. Let's start with Samuel. Can you answer what's the first blank? Oh, Nara is smiling so big. Maybe she has the answer. Mirror your
schedule.
Okay, so it should be mirror your school schedule. Okay, so Samuel was almost there. It should be your school schedule. Okay, for example, if it's a Monday holiday, okay, so Monday holiday, you have maths lesson, science lesson, recess. What should you do on a Monday holiday, Samuel? You should do.
The same maths, then science.
And then what will you do during recess?
Recess. I don't know, take breaks.
Yeah, exactly.
But I still wake up at 6 a.m.
No, because school starts at 8 actually. So you don't have to wake up so early, but you have to stick to the schedule. What is the first thing you should do when you are doing your 4-week revision plan? Finish your
Notes.
Yes. Wow, Nara got 1 point. Okay, finish your notes because step 2 is to start memorizing all of your notes. Samuel, what is this answer? Memorize additional content from the what type of work you have done?
I value work.
Bing, bing, bing. Okay, so Samuel gets 1 point. So if you've done high value work, put it in your notes so that you can go and memorize them, Samuel. You told me you made notes, right?
Yeah.
Do you put any high value work in your notes? You did?
Yeah, a bit.
Which subject?
Like science and English.
Science and English. Wow. So where do you get your high value work from science? Is it from like a
YouTube.
book? YouTube. Nice. What channels do you recommend?
Or Dr. Bionics. I don't
Binocs, not Bionics. Okay, cool, Samuel. Okay, so guys, whenever you have a exam coming up, finishing your notes is your first step to preparation. Okay, followed by memorizing. Okay, so the next one is practice paper. Nara, how many practice papers should you be doing per subject? 5, correct. Okay, after you do the practice papers, just the first two without restriction because you need to just get the confidence, right, to use it. And then you should do the rest under Samuel.
Restrictions.
What restrictions?
You can't get help.
What kind of restriction? It's a very specific type of restriction.
No digital devices.
Yeah. Do you guys realize what this is like? We are mirroring something.
School.
Yeah, school. Okay, so Samuel, the one I'm looking for is
Distractions.
no, because what I'm looking for is exam setting. There should be no distraction, right? You can't have things around. No one should be talking. Your teacher shouldn't even be talking either. And then update your master booklet. So Samuel, what is the master booklet?
In your exam, after you get back your exam paper, you see one of those mistakes, right? Then after that, you can either take picture, I don't know, upload it to my computer to at least put inside the master booklet.
Yeah, exactly. What's the purpose of it? Why must we use master booklet?
Like to review.
To review your old mistakes, right? Okay, good job. What was your revision plan before your WA? Start to write it down because remember, this is good practice for when you go to secondary school. If your exam is next month, how do you know which day to do maths, which day to do science, which day to do Chinese?
But my tuition is fixed one, so yeah.
So you use your tuition as your main revision, right?
Wait,
Yeah.
So I have a question for you, Nara. When you go to secondary school, do you think you have all 8 tuition for each subject?
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. Probably not. So Nara, can you rely on your tutors for revision?
70%.
70%. Okay, I'll say it's the opposite. It should be 30%. Nothing wrong with tuition, right? But remember, tuition should not be a reliance. It should be a source of information if needed. Okay, so now I'm going to be going into the nitty-gritty. What's the best way to revise for languages?
our Chinese one, right, at the back of the textbook, right, there's actually a tons of words. So just go read from there.
How are you memorizing it?
Sometimes I use notes.
Okay, how do you memorize it? Do you just stare at it?
I just like read all the Chinese words, then on a paper, right? Then after that, cover it up and then test me again.
Has that been helping you, Samuel?
Not really.
Not really. Why?
I find it very time consuming.
That's true. But some time consuming things, if you do it right, you will get the reward. So have you been doing it right? So let's say your exam is next month. You have to start practicing now, actually. Do you practice 2 weeks before?
No,
There we go. That's the issue. So Samuel, what are you going to do from now on to revise for your Chinese?
like practice more, like in advance, like 3 months.
Yes. So when we say practice more, okay, what about you, Nara?
I already did my English.
Yeah. So how do you feel about the paper?
I fell asleep for 10 minutes.
Because it was too easy?
No, I was too tired.
Okay, that means that you need to have the pre-exam routine, right? You're not supposed to feel tired when you're having your paper. It means you have the set routine of the way you sleep, the way you eat, and the way you interact with your friends. I'm going to go through a bit of the science behind what's the best way to revise languages. So you guys need to understand that languages are like Legos. Before you can build a whole set, you need to take the useful pieces and piece them together. Okay, these are your good words and phrases. So only when you have your useful pieces and then you slowly create bigger chunks, you know those giant Lego statues, the ones that you see are bigger than you. How do those people build it? They have to first find the good useful parts because not all Lego pieces are useful. I can't do the whole piece at one go. So when you are studying for languages, same thing. First, have the good words and phrases, but make sure it's in your long-term memory. Okay, and what Samuel has been saying, like, yes, he's doing a no problem hack, but it's not working because you guys are not doing it long enough. That means that you must prepare at least maybe 1 month in advance so that you can do a bit every day. Otherwise, it'll feel very overwhelming. And then that's when you start to inject these phrases and words into your composition, into your papers, and you get teachers to mark. This is crucial when it comes to languages because languages are quite nuanced. It means like a small difference makes a big impact, but we don't know. So only teachers know this. So please go and get your teachers for help. And this means that you can either ask them for consultation, you can do extra work and ask them to mark and ask them to return you the next day. Teachers love to help, but you need to make the effort. Don't wait for a teacher to ask you, you ask your teachers. And then rewrite the essay by memory. So this does two things, okay? I know it sounds a bit boring, but this does two things. Number one, it allows you to, again, remember the good words and phrases. And a very important step about this, right, is that it allows you to remember the flow of the story. And a lot of time, the flow can be adjusted to many kinds of compositions. So now I will be going through how do we then go through the different components, okay? So this is talking about like papers, not the composition. Of course, practice. This is something that you cannot avoid. You have to do practice. And then you should put wrong questions in flashcards, okay? But this only works for information you can memorize and information that's isolated. What do I mean by this? Spelling, grammar, maybe even synthesis. These are things that you need to memorize for you to get a hang of it. Okay, so things like comprehension, no, right? You don't really memorize comprehension. It doesn't make sense unless you're just memorizing the word itself. Okay, things like the word, how to memorize, how to spell the word, what the word means. Okay, go through them regularly. Okay, until it enters your long-term memory. So this is a very big myth. Okay, whose teachers ever tell them if you want to improve your Chinese, just read more? Or if you want to improve your English, just read more. So reading itself doesn't improve your language unless you are reading composition essays. Like for example, the top 10 PSLE compositions, for example. Those improve your language because similar to what we learned just now, number one, you learn the good words and phrases they use, memorize it. And number two, you learn the way they structure the essay. For example, if the question is, oh, tell me about your saddest day. Look at how those people who are scoring well, how do they have their hook, their introduction, their climax, their ending?
Make a fake story.
Yeah, like a fake story, exactly. If you're reading like books, if you're reading mangas, you're reading comic books, those just improve your credit. So let me just give one last tip. We only want to improve mother tongue or our language if we see the purpose of it. So if you ever feel like you struggle with Chinese, you hate Chinese, you don't know why you're doing it, it's because you don't see the purpose of it. So find ways to connect with the language. Maybe it's a game. Find like a Chinese speaking game. It can be a drama. It can be your grandparents. It can be your friends who only speak Chinese. You know, if you have people who migrated, it could be try and bug your parents to bring you to China for overseas trip. Okay, let's move on to how to revise maths and science the best way. Same thing, practice papers. Okay, this one cannot avoid, guys. So make sure you prepare it way beforehand.
How come number one says do practice paper, number four say do more practice paper?
Exactly. Okay, so cannot escape, right? You do the first practice paper as a practice round. Do the first two papers without any restrictions, just chill, because this is just a way for you to know. Number two, what are your problems when it comes to either maths or science? It's very important that you first find the root issue before moving forward. Is it because you don't understand? Or is it that you can explain, I know how to do, but because I don't practice enough, that's why I'm not able to get the full marks? Or is it just that there's a lack of memorizing? So, for example, you don't remember the math formula. Like you know how to do, you know how to finish, you know how to start. It's just that you don't memorize the formula. That's why everything is wrong. Or for science, you don't remember the keywords. Okay, then you have to memorize. So only once you fix the root cause, then go and do the rest of the practice papers in the exam format. Does that make sense now, Samuel? Why number one practice paper, number four still practice paper? Okay, so we do have a document on how to find out the root cause because I know that especially for students, it's quite hard for you to identify. Actually, why I'm wrong? I just don't know, right? But really, there's always a deeper reason. Then you have to ask yourself, is it that I don't know what topic is tested? How to check? You go and explain the topic to your parents.
Mommy's always busy.
Oh, then you have a phone or not, Samuel?
Yeah.
Then you can voice message her, lor. Then she reply you when she's free. This is the first step to do it. Okay, so mommy, I'm going to teach you about volume, how to find volume of a cube. So the first step is to use the formula. When you know that there's a big gap in your knowledge already. Okay, that's the first thing. Second one, you don't know what approach is used. Okay, so this means that you know how to do, but when you see the question, you're stuck. This means that you don't know the approach that's used. Okay, so this is the difference, Samuel. If you're able to teach your mom, but still cannot do an exam, it probably means that you don't know the approach that's used. So that means you need to familiarize yourself with the question, not the topic. Okay, next one, careless mistake. Yes, this is another thing students love to say. I'm careless. What does careless mean, right? Or why are you careless? So do you read the question wrongly? Like if the answer, if the question says 321, I have 321 kg of rice, you go and write 123. That's what careless means, right? Because it's that didn't do it slowly enough or you didn't double, triple check. Meaning you know how to do, but for some reason you choose the wrong one, then highlighting will really help you. Okay, why this helps is because it slows your brain down. Sometimes your brain works faster than your hand. Match them up by doing highlighting, by thinking on paper. Calculation error, this will really work for, you guys who are probably P5 and above, correct? So calculator, okay, calculation error. That means that you need to type the calculator properly, double check, triple check, really slow yourself down, okay? And units, this is a big one for maths, okay? I used to teach maths and this is one of the biggest thing. You guys don't check the units or you assume that the units don't mean anything, but there is a very big difference from 1 cm and 1 km. So make sure you change those and match all of them. Otherwise, you cannot do the question. All right. So I know that both of you don't have a revision schedule for your past stuff. So we will be creating a fake one. Okay, I'll show you how it's done so that when the exam comes, you know how to create it. Okay, so it's a 4-week revision plan. Always use the 4-week revision plan as your main skeleton.
Sweet, do finish your notes.
Correct. Okay. Please note that. Please note that. Please note that the first week you need to finish up your notes. Okay. Don't start creating notes by then it's too late already. Okay. Very important. Number 2, memorize. Okay. Go and start memorizing it. So Samuel, the method you use, what is it called again? The one you write, you cover, you write. Okay. The name is no prompt tag. It is very good for languages. I mean, isolated information, okay, guys? Isolated. So things like comprehension, no problem hack won't work, obviously. Can I get Samuel? What is the third part of the 4-week revision plan?
Practice papers.
Very good. How many?
5.
Okay. What's the fourth one?
Oh, do more practice papers.
There we go. Yay. Okay. Why do we do this? Because the first round of practice papers is to actually identify the problem. So if you see this 4 weeks is quite tight, you look like this little boy, quite stressed. So you can stretch it out if needed. Okay. You can do 5 weeks of preparation instead or 6 weeks of preparation instead.